Hello, in this video we're going to talk about how to do some scrollable text. There's actually a few ways to go about doing it. We're going to show the one that's kind of built into Flash by default, and then we're going to show how to do more of a custom-made scrollable text area. So we're just going to start with a blank document here. And if you notice here, you should have a Components tab. If you don't see this, just go to Windows and then check Components, and that'll pop up for you. Then under that, we want to go to User Interface, and you're going to see there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that's already built in. So we're going to just go ahead and drag the text area to our stage. And by default, you're going to see this Properties dialog here, tab shown, and there's really not much you can do with it. But what you want to do is click Parameters, and that's going to open up a whole bunch of options. First, let's make this around the size we want. So we're going to make it 150 width by 200 height. Let's move this guy up. Okay, now editable just means that the user will be able to highlight text. Usually you want to have that to false. And then in this text area here, we could just start typing whatever we want that to have in it. Just type a bunch here so it's enough to scroll. Hopefully that'll be enough. Yep. And you can see that Flash automatically did everything for us. If we hit F12, you know, made a nice scrollable text field for us with little down and up arrows as well. So that's fine, but if you're looking for something a little bit more custom, what we're going to do now is load up this page here. And what I did first is I made two buttons. You can make these graphics anything you want. Make sure that they're button symbols. Okay, they have to be button symbols for this to work. Okay, and keep them in a separate layer just to make it easy on yourself. If you open our library here, you can see they're just simple button symbols, nothing more. And the next thing we want to do is just create a regular text field here from our Tools panel. And there's a few things we have to do. First, you want to make sure that it's set to dynamic text. You want to make sure that it's set to multi-line. By default, it's on single line, so make sure that's on multi-line. We want to give it an instance name. For coding, we need to have a reference name for Flash to understand what it is. We're going to call it S text so we can refer to that later. Then what you want to do is right click on the text field and hit scrollable. Okay, so then after that, you just simply start typing your text that you want it to have. Let's make the box a little bigger. Okay, that should be enough fake text. So now what we're going to do is start with our action scripting. So we're going to copy this and put this in the other layer. Kind of messed up there. No big deal though, we can just drop it in later. Okay. Okay, so after you have that selected, our little button down arrow there, we're going to just drop in some code. And we're just going to do some simple on release. Okay, and then we're going to add our bracket for where our actions are going to go. You should, if you're not familiar with this basic action scripting, you should probably refer back to the simple navigation tutorial. But this is pretty straightforward. It's only like 2 lines. So on this line, we're going to tell it to scroll the S text. Remember, our S text was the name of our symbol. Okay, and we're going to want it to go plus equals 1. Okay, that's basically telling it to do a positive scroll in increments of 1. Okay, once we have that set, we're just going to break that line and close our action, and that should be enough to test our code here. Okay, we have no errors. Let's preview this. Okay, and you can see it works just fine. So now we want to do the other button. It's the same thing. We're going to go on release. Okay, S text scroll, and as you could probably have guessed, this time we're going to go negative equals 1. We're going to close it again. That's the only difference between the two codes, is that one has a minus and one has a plus. Okay, so we're going to close that action and test our code. We're good. And now we should be able to go back and forth, which we can. So that's pretty much it for scrollable text. I mean, it's not all that hard. I mean, it's a little tricky setting all the different things up, like your text area and so forth. But you know, with this, you can pretty much control your content on your web page, you know, without having the text override your entire design. So this way you can really isolate it to a certain portion of, you know, your design without it overriding it. So that's it for scrollable text.